Hello, both metals and woods class. We're going to combine lessons today, not because it's easier, because it's relevant to both. For those of you that have had me for metals, you know that we'll occasionally take and get an old tool in, clean it up, and make it usable. I'm thinking about like that old hand-powered drill press that's in the metal shop, the old stove. There's been a few things that you clean up and you can reuse. If you'd like metals students, if you click at the Mr. McMullen's YouTube channel down below as you're watching this, you can go and actually watch. It would be for Woods Week 1 Lesson 1, where we talk about looking into what to look for in old tools. Now, yes, these are woodworking tools, but notice they're made of metal. And wood students, where we left off, we talked about what to look for when we were going to buy these. And the fact of just getting some hand tools to start your own shop, and what to look for in a good quality tool, regardless of whether it's a hand tool, a hammer, whatever it may be, just some things to look for. So we're going to take, and I can't do a video where, I wish I had the editing abilities where, I could speed it up, me working and so forth, but already this morning, I've taken that Fulton apart. I'm probably not going to fix these up. I'll be completely honest. Maybe I'll leave them and somebody in class can do them as a project, but they're both Stanleys. But the Fulton is kind of where I'm like, man, that's a nicer hand plane than these Stanleys. Stanley's still a great brand. These would make wonderful hand planes for somebody. But I'm not going to take them apart and go through the time. But I will tell you this. I did clean one up. We still got to sharpen the blade. I figure I'd do a really basic sharpening on this Fulton hand plane. And I've already taken it apart. And we'll go through what I did so far and what I could do to make it even nicer than what it currently is. So if you remember back, or you've looked back at the other video, these things, they're dirty, they're dusty, they've got stuff in them. I mean, there's old sawdust, a little bit of surface rust, they need some help. So what tools and equipment are we going to need for this? Well, we're going to need this stuff. Sorry, I didn't want to give the reveal away yet on the one I took apart. You're going to need a basic set of screwdrivers, some flat tips. I got, a little bit bigger one in here just because sometimes you get into some of those screws where you just need more grip. I've got some small guys, really, really small guys. And these are not necessarily for taking it apart, but to clean it, like this pick here. Just to get in all those nooks and crannies, a hand wire brush. I know this is for cleaning out a copper pipe, but there's some spots that it worked on. When we go to sharpen, I'll put this over the sharpening stuff. And I got also a razor blade. Well, McMullen, what do you need that for? Scraping. You can use it for scraping out some of the garbage in there. We've got some rubbing compound, too, that we're going to be using. And then when we go to sharpen it, I've got, honestly, the most basic sharpening tools today, because the whole idea of this is that, hey, we're on a budget. And already, like, well, Mr. McMullen, I got to go buy these tools to take that tool apart. Yes, you'll need a basic set of screwdrivers. The rubbing compound is optional. You don't need it. You may just have to use some more elbow grease with some soap and water. Sharpening tools, and I know if a woodworker is watching this, they are cringing right now going, these are not what you need. You need a big, giant honing stone and this and that. And you're right. It would be a lot easier. But this is all about the very basics and getting things sharp with the very minimum amount of equipment. This is probably the minimum. I've got a really fine file. I've got a couple coarser files so we can get, the blade. And is it going to be perfect? No. Is it going to still work? Yes. Our forefathers definitely, they didn't have, beautiful Japanese honing stones and this and that. Yes, it takes a little longer, but you can still get the same results of what tools I have here. The hone here, this diamond honed, it's literally just small industrial diamonds that are impregnated with epoxy into this. It's a metal pad with these little spots in it that are kind of like a polymer behind it of some type. And, I could do this all day, and it's just going to polish up my finger and turn it black. There's a fine side and a coarse side. Obviously, this will remove a little bit more material than this side. And this is going to be a finishing thing. This will probably set you back about $20. Now, the one thing I did use today to clean up this hand plane, because I didn't want to spend, all day using a wire brush, which you could use. You could use wire brushes and clean up the hand plane and get all the rust and everything off. It does work. But what I ended up using was I cheated and I grabbed the battery-powered wire wheel. I mean, turn it on, the thing spins. You gotta be careful. So a combination of that in my handy vise. I also have the air sprayer, you know, so we could take and blow things off as we clean them. So without further ado, here it is. All taken apart, that Fulton. There's the mechanism. It's still got a little bit of surface rust. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to oil it, but I'm not going to get that technical. Could I get that technical where I get in there and clean this all up, maybe even repaint it? Sure. But I want to put this tool to work. This is actually a brass knob. I could take this brass knob off, soak it in vinegar overnight, and then it would really clean up. But again, it's just going to get dirty again. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll oil this up so it stops the rust and stop there. This guy, I wire wheeled. Got to be careful. I can't get all the spots, but you got to be careful when you wire wheel. Again, these are all cast iron. You can see because look at all the little dimples on it. This is a piece of cast iron. Be careful. You don't want to put this in a vise too tight and break it. Same with the actual bed or base of our block plane. This is also cast iron. How can you tell, McMullen? Well, look carefully. See how it looks like, you know, the moon's surface? That's a great indication of cast iron. Also, you'll see that there's the number. We found some more identifying marks on this. It's a number 3. And then we go to the blade itself, and as I clean that up, you can see Fulton, made in the USA. Hey, that's good. We're going to have some fun. Come on, zoom. There it is. With this blade, you can see the big chips right there. So this is going to take a little while to get cleaned up. And we'll fast forward a little bit and not do it the full way, but so everything's taken apart. Now, one thing I did find is when I took it apart, the handles, everything looks pretty decent there. But the actual main handle, oh no, it was broke. That's okay. We'll glue it back together. I'll put just some paste wax on it after it's glued back up and put it back together. So, McMullen, this is all taken apart. What would you do to protect it from further rust or, you know, just to keep it maintained? Any moving part? Just some 3-in-1 oil. So any of these moving parts, right there on that screw, right there on that, I'd give it a little bit of, you know, just a dab of oil. Right here, our adjuster. It's not made to move a lot, but it needs to move. So I'm going to put just a dab of grease, or oil there, excuse me. This part, dab of oil. Any moving part, I'm going to put just a little dab of oil. The actual beds, we're going to take paste wax. And I know you're like, well, McMullen, now I got to buy paste wax. Yes, you'll use it on all your tools. So it's as simple as taking a paper towel, putting a little bit of paste wax on it, and just buffing it in. And I don't clean up the residue. I know some people come back and they clean it up. Unless it's on the very bottom, I don't clean it up because it's just a protectant. You'll have to reapply once a year on average unless you're using it more. But we'll do that. And I will post a picture of this whole thing cleaned up. I'm probably actually going to take this. I'll bring it inside and soak it in some vinegar overnight, along with some of the other brass parts, just to clean it up. And I'll go up and glue the handle. And I'll have this all reassembled. And I'll post a picture along with it on the lesson, or at least a link to the picture, so you can see. But this is all taken apart. We've cleaned it up. I literally wire wheeled pretty much every surface. It cleaned up really nice. I mean, if you look at one of the other vices, you can see what it... Oh, there's some more writing there. I'll have to look up to see what that says. Didn't notice that. But you can see this one, you know, that's what this looked like. But now look at it. It's all cleaned up. It's all been wire wheeled. Yeah, it left a couple little swirly marks, but that's not a big deal. As long as it's flat and smooth and no breaks. Be careful that you don't drop these or anything. They're cast iron. You drop them, they'll, you know, fall and break. Let's talk about this blade. We're going to go over, and you'll have to forgive me for a little bit because I didn't pre-plan how I'm going to set this up in the vise. So I'm going to close up my vise right now, and we'll get this put in. So give me a second so I can set up the camera so you can see me. It may take a second here just so that... Nope, can't do that. That won't work. Let's try this. Nope, that doesn't work. Let's try... Nope, that's not working either. What can I use? What can I use that'll work really well? Well, this does have a kickstand. Oop, I think I got it. Kabam! Perfect. And I'll do that. And I'll just stand off to the side, I guess, as best I can. Cool. That'll work. All right. So, where'd my blade go? There it is. So I've got my blade. I'm gonna put my blade in the vise, and I'm gonna try to get it as close to that vise surface as possible so it's not real wobbly, but it's gonna be kind of hard. Yeah, I guess I can go there. Yeah, we'll start there. It's not where I want it. And I'm just gonna take a real fine file, and again, I'm gonna take my finger on the backside so I like to do this so I can feel the angle. And we're gonna take, and that's not even doing it right now, so we're gonna switch over to the other file. And we're gonna just basically maintain that edge, and we're gonna clean that up. There's some garbage right there, I can feel it. And this is gonna take a while. I mean, there's some big chips right there. Somebody must have hit a nail. So I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna take, and the biggest thing is maintain that angle. Well, McMillan, what angle is it? I have no idea. It could be 30 degrees, 45. It's not a 45. It's probably closer to 30. But I want to maintain that angle. The biggest thing is I don't want to change the angle. Again, if you're a woodworker right now, you're just cringing because you're going, "Oh, McMullen, you should be over at a wheel or a flat base or something." You're right. I should be, but we don't have that technology right now. Hey, if you only have some type of sharpening stone, an Arkansas stone, something, you could take it. Again, the biggest thing is just maintaining that angle the whole way. This is actually doing a little bit better job. This is going to take me a while. If you get that chip out of there, I'm going to have to probably do this for a half hour. And no, I'm not going to video me for a half hour going, because that'd be boring. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to go never use a bench grinder. They spin too fast. You'll turn this thing purple and blue and just ruin it. I've got a slow turning wheel that I'll probably end up using. But again, if I didn't have that, I could sit here with a file and just work it over and over and over. Another option would be I could take a file and mount it flat in my vise and actually work this like a sharpening stone almost. That would be an option. Let's say I've got it where I want it. Hey, it looks pretty good. Am I going to get it super sharp? The answer is absolutely not. A file, a rough stone will only get it so close. That's what I'm going to move over to this. That diamond stone with the real fine, I guess you could use like a 600 or 800 sandpaper with a block of wood. That would work as well. But this is where I'm just going to maintain that angle and put the final touches on it. And this is all going to be by feel. You're going to make mistakes. Your first time sharpening, it's going to happen. The biggest thing is just maintain that angle and check it. You can feel. And then at the very end, what I'll do too is keeping that honing stone flat against the backside, is I will literally take off any burrs. Because remember, we're not sharpening both sides. We're just sharpening the bevel on the one side or the angle. And then this is just to take off any burrs. And again, I'm keeping it flat up against my blade. I don't want to take and actually angle it at all because it will ruin that edge. It's actually not bad on this side. These two chips are going to really bug me. Oh, there's a woodpecker outside. This side actually is not bad. And I know, like, if you're a traditional woodworker or an actual true woodworker right now, you are probably just cringing, going, "That's not how you sharpen." You're right, it's not. But when you got minimum tools because of COVID-19, we're going to make do with what we got. I can always come back and clean this up later. Hey, McMullen, are there places I could sharpen this? Sure, there's saw shops that'll sharpen blades for you. I haven't had a lot of good luck with them. I've always found that I can do a better job, and I already, this is getting pretty close. You can see my finger too, where I've had the blade. I keep my finger on the back side just because I can feel the angle and maintain that. As long as I'm touching my finger, I maintain the angle. If I come off and I'm not feeling it, I've changed the angle, or if I'm really humped over, same thing. And then there's a little bit of that burr on the back side. I keep it flat. That's actually not bad right now. Let me go to the fine, and then I know a lot of people have talked about it in my other videos. Hey, we'll cut a piece of paper. Cutting paper, I know it sounds weird, but it's not. I've always found, yes, it shows that it's sharp. Woo! But cutting paper is probably one of the worst things for blades. Like cutting into cardboard and stuff, it's hard on the blades. And I know you're like, well, it's cutting into wood. What's the difference? Trust me, there's a difference. Something about cutting into paper and cardboard, it just really takes a toll on the blade. And you'll see, I'm more of a scrubber than just like and I try to go, toward the bevel, not against it. That's just me. Make sure that we have, that it's flat across, that you're not getting it domed. We've got that, it's maintaining. And I'm gonna come back and take that bevel off the back, and let me see how it feels. That'll cut paper right now. There's my paper towel. Here's my paper towel. Let's see, is it sharp? Woo, yep, it's sharp. I'm going to pick back up the camera and we're going to show you what we did. That'll cut wood easily. We'll do another video for woods on how to set up these block planes. You need a piece of scrap wood, but I'll show you how. That's sharp. I'm going to do a little bit better job with an actual cold stone, but again, for right now, this will do just fine for what we wanted. So, I'm going to grab the camera so we can go in and look at this a little bit better. No, they're not actual cheese balls or whatever they are. Oh, good gosh. Lug nuts off the trailer. And sorry, there are 2 antique BB guns in the background. They don't even work. But they were antiques for my grandpa. So anyways, you can see the blade. It's all cleaned up. You can see my finger. You can see right where I was holding it, actually. There we go. And those 2 chips, I gotta really work this. Again, maybe some sandpaper on a block. It's gonna take some time. The biggest thing when we're sharpening this is just maintain that angle. You can see it from the side here, that bevel. And then also, you want to make sure that it's flat. You don't want it to become humped. So make sure that blade, check it with something that's flat. Make sure that, okay, yep, that's maintaining. We don't want it to become curved. Once that's all done, I would take and put a coat of paste wax actually on the blade, all over. Be careful so you don't cut yourself, obviously. And then we can put it all back together. We'll do another video on how to actually take and set these up for woods. But for both metals and woods, that's how I restore these. It's pretty basic. I wish I had like a little Dremel with a wire wheel. I've got one at school, but that doesn't help me any right now. Mine's actually at school, but here's what it is. I would definitely take and clean these up. I'm going to take this off and I'll soak it in vinegar, along with are these screws brass? No, they're steel. Yeah, but this is brass, this screw. So I can soak that too and clean it up. And I got to glue that handle that we found that was broken. So I'm going to go do those 2 things. I'll get this all reassembled and I'll post a picture with it all assembled. I may not get up right away, the picture. Be aware if that handle doesn't want to soak in the vinegar and clean up right away, it may take me a little bit longer, but I'll do that. Otherwise, I'll wax all this up and get it all back together as best I can for right now. And I'll get that blade cleaned up a little bit better on a slow grinding wheel. If you got any questions, send me an email. Use Remind. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Yeah. I can't think of anything else right now. Definitely did for teaching through the internet than actually in person. One thing I will point out with this before I forget is, McMullen, how long did it take you to clean this whole thing up? Is it going to be like 2 hours? I've spent, 20 minutes talking about this? Woo! Not bad. I mean, and that was me just sharpening and mainly going through. The actual cleanup of wire wheeling this and the vise and cleaning it all up and take it apart, maybe 15 minutes. Maybe another 10 minutes to take and put the, wax on it and everything. So you got a half hour into it. So again, sweat is free. Buy these cheap at the flea market. Fix up your old, it doesn't have to be a block plane. Any type of tool you can fix up for the most part. But your sweat's pretty free. So yeah, just some elbow grease and you got yourself a nice tool. Yeah. And then storage. McMullen, where would you store these? Put them in a toolbox. Put them, on a wooden shelf. Make sure you're not setting them on anything like the ground or any place with high moisture, because they're bare steel. They will rust. For me, I've got an old file cabinet that has a towel on the bottom that I just set them on so that they doesn't mess up the blades. I've got a little bit longer one. I think it's like a number. I don't even remember what number it is. I'm not going to go out and say because I don't know. But I got some longer actual, nice planes, a couple block planes, a couple of palm planes, and actually a little thumb plane, they call it, for small work. Again, all from flea markets, because why am I buying new? Buy old, it's cheaper. All right, I'll stop there. Make sure you do the assignment. You'll see some questions posted. This is an assignment that you will turn in. Again, make sure you complete the assignment that goes with this. It is an assignment that you will turn in for points this week. Stay safe and stay home.